Hi, it's Sandra, and today I'd like to show you how to reverse stamp. I'm going to be using this plate it's a Uber Chic plate, and it's called Welcome Spring. I'm just going to do a very small stamp to show you the reverse stamping technique, and I'm going to use this little tulip here. The tools that you really need to have are dotting tool and a small brush, and I'm going to show you how to use both of these. I like both of them. I think that the dotting tool is good for teeny weeny pictures, and I think that if you've got a large area to do that, the brush is good for that. So I got this brush at Sally Beauty, and I have gotten the dotting tools from Sally Beauty as well. So first thing I'm going to do is get my tulip, and I'm going to use the black outline and put my black stamping polish on, and I'm going to scrape it, and then I'm going to use a small stamper to remove it. Oh, and there it is. My little stamping circle came out, so I'm just going to put it back in. All right, I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to take off all the little things that I picked up. I've already done the nail that I'm going to reverse stamp, and I put a lavender on here, and this is actually Sally Hansen Extreme Hardest Nails Extreme Wear, and the color is Lacy Lilac. So I thought that would look pretty because I'm actually going to make the tulip a dark purple and then the stem a green. So I have this little teeny rock that I had gotten from Maniology for doing reverse stamping, and it's nice. It is a nice little rock to put stuff on. The only thing I would have to say is I wish it was bigger, but it's good for putting colors on here so that you can reverse stamp. The first color I'm going to use is a dark purple, and because these are, you're putting it on here and you're just putting a little drop on there, they have a tendency to dry out very fast, so you kind of got to work fast. You're going to take, I'm going to first do it with the dotting tool, and the thing about doing this reverse stamping is you don't want to rub the image. If you rub the image, if I take this dotting tool and I scrape it along the image, it's going to take off the black outline. You got to be very, 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 very careful in putting the paint on. So I'm just barely touching it and spreading the paint. That's one technique. The other technique is to use a paintbrush. I see a lot of people online using paintbrushes. I think it's, like I said, I think it's great if you're doing a bigger image, but on really tiny images, the dotting tool, in my opinion, works better. Now I'm going to do the leaf, doing that with the paintbrush. Put some paint on there and do the same technique. I'm just going to pat it in. I'm not going to drag it across anything. If I drag it, it's going to bring the image up, your black lines. So there you go. So now that I have them filled in, I'm going to turn the stamper over and see how it looks on the other side to see if I've missed any spots. And I'd say it looks pretty good. It looks like it's pretty well filled. I went over a little bit on the top with the purple, but that's okay. I'm going to let this dry just a little bit, but since my nail has been dried for a while, what happens is when you do the reverse stamping image, if your nail does not have anything on it and it's completely dry, the image will not stick to the nail. There's a couple things you can do. You can either use a top coat, put that on, wait for it to dry for a little bit, and then put your image on, or you can use this product by Orly. And there's also, Maniology also sells a sticky base coat that you could use. But I purchased this Orly Polish Bond, and this works really well. I've been told, though, with the Orly Polish Bond that if you put it on white, it yellows the white. You might want to keep that in mind. I have never used it on white, so I don't know. My nail is dry. Put a thin layer of this Orly over it, and I'm going to do the tip too. And this image should be pretty well dry. If you put it on there before it dries, what will happen is when you push it on there, it'll kind of smush and it'll smear your image. Now that I think it's dry, and you don't have to let this orally dry for very long. You don't want it to. You want it to be still kind of wet. I'm going to put this where I want it and stamp it on. And there you go. So that's all there is to it to reverse stamping. Obviously, the more intricate the detail, the longer it's going to take. I probably should have used a lighter purple on here because it's hard to see the outline of the rose that I did or the tulip that I did in black. That's the thing that you want to check on to make sure that the colors look good together. That is one way of reverse stamping. Another way of reverse stamping, and I've already got this stamp prepared, is to do the stamp and then put, and I'm going to use the Maniology smudge free top coat, and I'm going to put this on here. Just make it a little bigger than what the stamp is. Then I'm going to let this dry. Once this dries, and you want to let it thoroughly dry, and I'm not sure if it's, probably you can feel it to see if it's dry, but it's probably 10-15 minutes. Once it's dry, you can peel it off and put it on your finger as if it's a sticker. So I'll do that on my thumb when it's dry. By the way, if you want to know how to do French manicure, I have a video that shows you how to do that with a stamp, so look for that. And at the end of this video, if you enjoy it, please press that you like it and subscribe. So I'm going to let this dry for a little bit, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how to peel this off. My image is finally dry, and it took about a half hour. So I would say at least a half hour for it to dry. And you know it's dry because when you take your tweezers and you actually touch it or try to pick it up, it's got that solid feel to it. Whereas if you get it too early, it'll actually look scrunchy. I don't know how to explain it, but you can tell it's not dried. So I did my thumbnail, and I'm going to put some of the bonder on there. Remember, if your nail isn't dry, if you just painted your nails, then this bonder isn't necessary. It's only when you, let's say I painted all 10 nails and then I messed around and I wanted to put an image on each nail, and I started doing it and it was taking a long time, and they do take a while to do. Then I would probably want to make sure that that image would stick, so I would put the bonder on. So I'm going to take this off. Let's put it on this way. And adhere it to my nail. So I'm just going to place it on here. Push it down. I have one of these tools that I had gotten from Maniology, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry, it's Uber Chic, that you can use to press this stuff down. And then what I would do is take the smudge-free top coat and just apply this to the top. And sometimes I'll trim, once I take these off the stamper, if I'm making a sticker out of it, I'll trim the edge of the design so that way you don't have this top coat sticking up here, so that it's more to the size of the image. That's it. You can either, in my opinion, I like doing the stamping the image on right away. I think that the sticker idea is a great idea. I think that it's useful in with some images if you want to place it. Maybe you've got multiple images on one nail and you need to place it exactly in the right spot. So it probably would be very useful for that, but I prefer just stamping the image on. That's all there is to it, to reverse stamping. One thing that you're really going to want to do is have a good light, and so that you can see this, and you'll get to where you'll notice, you'll decide on whether something is worth reverse stamping or not by the size. Some of the images are so tiny that to reverse stamp them is just, it would be crazy. I also did another image of the same tulip, and I wanted to show you this because you can see by using a lighter color that you can see the outline better. So play with the colors, play with the images, see what you like, try it out before you actually put it on your nail. And remember to subscribe and like my video, and we'll talk to you later.